Hello. In this podcast, we will be discussing subjects that may not be suitable for all ages.
Including, but not limited to, language, discussion of violence, sexual violence, and nudity.
Wait, this is a podcast. They can't even see the nudity if it's even in the movie.
Oh, okay, that's a good point.
Yeah, it doesn't
so,
matter.
so nix the last thing. The other things are still
there.
Still relevant.
Violence.
So, basically, no kids and grandma. Don't listen.
Don't listen. But anyway, enjoy.
Hello, and welcome to Living Vicariously, the podcast where we talk about real to real horror. I'm a sexy young woman that you can't wait to get deep inside, Logan, and I like to watch and talk about horror movies.
And I'm an unexpected breast implant, McCall, and I like to talk about true crime and murder.
Woo!
You really, revved up there and then
Like
just
I was going to say
sat.
something, and then I was like, I don't know what to
Oh,
say.
shit!
I couldn't think of anything.
Oops.
I am a little sweaty. But I am wearing
Sucks.
a sweatshirt
You're
and
wearing
pants.
a sweatshirt, and this is your fault, I think. So, it's fall.
Meh.
I have the windows open.
Mm-hmm. It's been a really nice last couple days.
Yes.
It's been gorgeous.
We boarded up our
Your air conditioner?
or else it just explodes in bugs. And that's my nightmare. So
That does sound like something that would be out of your
I put
nightmares.
a garbage bag over it and I duct tape it down like a crazy person.
And you're like, no more air.
Nothing can get in.
I'm safe.
When we were in my psychology class in high school, we watched a video on this lady who had arachnophobia, and I'm like, she's probably crazy. And we watched, I'm like, she has some pretty good points though. She'd leave her house, and when she came back in, she'd have a roll of duct tape with her, and she'd duct tape underneath all the doors and shit so bugs couldn't
That's
get
a little
in.
aggressive.
And I was like, I see her point though. She's doing what she can.
She must go through a fuck ton of duct tape.
Mm-hmm. And they put her in virtual reality. And
They did it to torture her.
well, no, it was exposure therapy or whatever. But it was before, I want to say it was before the 2000s.
Oh god, so
Virtual
it's gonna be,
reality.
So it's gonna be really good quality
So
shit.
they were like, this is good for her because she's so afraid of spiders that it's so shitty. It's a good step ladder because it doesn't even really look good. And they showed her in the thing and her what she saw, and this little Mario 64 polygon spider came into view, and she screamed, and I also jumped in my seat. So we all know
You are pretty bad with bugs, though.
I'm not good, but she was worse. I don't go through that much duct tape. Just a little duct tape.
Just a little duct tape.
For the
Just
air
enough to
vents.
keep for the air vents.
Just, you know.
So they don't crawl into your mouth while you sleep.
I swear to God.
Spiders, Georg.
No. He is an outlier and should not be counted. So what are we talking about this week?
Well, I don't know about you because you always keep yours under wraps.
I did a good job.
So
No, I don't. I watched some stuff that I think scarred me for the rest of my life.
Okay.
But we'll
Good.
talk about that in my segment.
But talk about autopsies.
They'll say
Autopsy
at my
autopsy.
We should only do that once.
Yep.
I know how much we're gonna want to do that.
Yes, we are going to want to do that a lot. But so recently Dad watched this video on YouTube that was the top 10 best horror movies on Neefly.
Neefly.
And so
Netflix.
I was like, cool, let's do it. And so we started with The Autopsy of Jane Doe. This movie was made in 2016.
Oh shit.
It's only an hour and a half.
Good.
So that was nice. It was
Is
the
it-
perfect length for a
Is it
movie.
indie or is it?
No, I don't think it's indie. It's directed by
I mean,
Andre Orvidal.
Oh, him? I don't fucking know who that is.
I don't know.
He's got a fancy name, though. I'm sure he's done other stuff.
Yeah, sure he has.
If you're named Andre, you make a bunch of movies.
But he was inspired by The Conjuring when he went to go see it. And he was like, immediately afterwards, he was like, hey, if a horror movie script ever comes my way, Mr. Agent Man, who's looking at all of my things.
Mr. Agent Man.
Please let me know and we'll take a look at it. And this one popped up and he was like, mine.
Got it.
And then Stephen King actually really likes this movie too.
Yay! Stephen King has good taste.
Yeah, he said,
I want to
let me
say
see.
I don't really know all of his tastes.
well, some of his books.
Some of his tastes are in cocaine, so
Yeah.
you know it's good.
But he said it has visceral horror. Visceral horror to rival Alien and early Cronenberg. Watch it, but not alone.
Watch it, but don't.
Watch it, but also.
But stop.
So I really actually liked it. And
Dad also did.
It had some, and Mom did too. Like we all.
No, Mom was there. Okay.
Yeah, Mom
The way
was
you
there.
tell the story, it sounds like Mom wasn't there.
No, Mom was totally there. But Dad
we
was
just
the one who
erased her from the story.
No more, not in the narrative.
Suck it, Mom.
Dad was the one who watched the video, and he was the one who suggested the movie.
Okay.
So then we watched it. Really good acting. It was a very, very small cast. It was only like
The dead girl was real dead.
Actually, she was a really good she was really good because she was a real person on the slab the whole time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because they were like, we don't want it to be a prosthetic because especially when they do a lot of the zoom ins, it's not gonna look.
When we zoom into all of her guts, we want her to be alive.
You see a lot of her guts.
Yeah, you do.
So I'll just get into it.
Just like they did.
Yeah, get deep into it. So the movie starts off with this crime scene, and the police officers are like going through this like really destroyed house. Like it's like there's dead people everywhere, and they have been totally butchered. And then in the basement, they find like partially buried, except for one seductive titty.
That should have been your intro. I am one seductive titty.
But this girl, but even though she's in the ground, she's like not dirty at all.
What?
Mm-hmm. She's like totally not dirty.
But she's covered in dirt.
Yes, but she's not dirty.
Okay. All right.
Her skin is actually very clean the whole movie, despite what happened to her.
All right.
So anyway, they're like, wow, that's fucking weird. So then
Anyway.
they transport the corpse to the mortuary where these two guys are working. It's a father and a son. Austin is the son, and then the father is Tommy. And they're both like coroners. And they have this scene where it's like, they try to build the relationship between the two of them for us. Like,
Thank you.
yeah, as it's like, okay, so this is the kind of relationship this father and son have. Yep, they are father and son, and they're both coroners and like cutting people.
So they're
open.
very fun. You just gleeked?
I did.
It looked like a fountain.
It was severe.
That was insane. I thought you were just spitting all over my shit.
I don't want to. I'm stepping on things. What am I stepping on? I'm sorry. I'm just trying to adjust.
Stepping and spitting everywhere.
Oh, I just wanted to stretch a little bit. Anyway, so they are analyzing a body, and like the dad, it's like one of those situations where like the son is like, "This is what happened." The dad's like, but you overlooked this thing because I am a father with experience.
I have experience.
Exactly.
Adjusts glasses.
Exactly, and this won't foreshadow anything. And then,
and the son's like, "God, Dad, just let me do what I want."
And
this isn't my dream, it's yours. Sorry.
There's a little bit of that, because then the guy's...
That is real. It's just Cinderella
Well, just
story.
because they... because, like, at one point, the guy, Austin's girlfriend comes over.
To the mortuary?
Yeah.
Just to, like, look at the dead bodies?
Yeah.
All right, I get it.
And she comes in and like they have like a conversation. She's like, "We just want to like get out. Like, don't you want to like move?" And he's like, "But I can't because of that. I can't
all these
leave
dead bodies.
I can't leave my dad." And like, At one point, he brings her back to like the morgue area where they're operating on bodies.
Check this out.
Well, then she's like,
This is why I have to stay.
Then she's like, I want to see a body. And
I get you.
He's like,
girlfriend.
She's like, I want to see a body, and he's like, well, you can't because my dad's really like professional, basically.
You know.
But then the dad's like, nah, fucking do it.
Check this one out.
Exactly. So like they open up all these ones. Like there's one that his like was like burned up or something. Like there was another one who like got shot in the face like with a shotgun.
As a distraught family member of a dead person, I don't want people to just gawk at my relative like, look at that.
Look at that crazy shit.
Look what happened to her.
But it's a really good scene actually. Like it's very there's a lot of tension in this movie. Like it definitely builds the tension. At one point they mention one thing where like they like the dad explains like, oh yeah, like coroners in the old days would tie bells around the corpses so that if they were alive they would jingle jangle.
Yes. And
I'm just like, that was in like the 1400s, like
so not it. Yeah.
And I researched that. It's like that's official. I have no idea when it was done, but it
happened.
It was a long time ago.
Everybody knows that fact.
So
if you're into dead bodies,
so like of course my first thing is I'm like, well, that's gonna come up. I was just like, well,
it's gonna be like The Nun where there's just all those jingling bells.
Oh my god.
That was a scene.
That was a scene, and it was irritating. So as Austin is gonna go leave with Emma to go do something or other.
Sex, probably.
Sex, movie, whatever.
Anything in between. They gotta bang.
They gotta bang. But that's when Jane Doe comes in. And they're like,
she just struts in the room.
Oh yeah, they like titties out. But they bring her in, like the police officer brings her in and is like, I need pictures of Spider-Man by tomorrow. And like he's like, I need like a cause of death by tomorrow.
That's not
and
how
so they
it
had
works,
to like stay over. Right? I was just like, we're closed.
I
we'll do it in the
autopsies for this. That's not how it works.
We'll do it in the morning. Like.
It's a dead body. It's not going anywhere.
Exactly. It's not going anywhere, man. So then he just, Austin's like, I have to stay and help my dad.
This stupid dead woman.
And as they're autopsying this woman, Emma runs off, by the way.
She doesn't stay for the amazing autopsy.
Right? So like they're looking her over and there's like nothing visible on her body of like any harm whatsoever.
Well, yeah.
Like no, there's nothing to explain why she died, or like how she died.
What if she died of like a? They haven't cut her open yet.
No,
right?
They haven't cut her open yet.
So like, what if she died of like a heart, whatever, like. Mm-hmm. Then whoever lived in the house buried her. I don't know. But then
they do find out that her tongue was cut out when they open her mouth.
Okay.
Her tongue was cut out. Her wrists and ankles were both shattered, like.
But they didn't look shattered. Like they didn't look fucked up.
They did once they like picked her hands up. They were like,
and they were
wonk.
Like like Harry Potter in the second movie.
Yeah, it's just whomp.
Womp.
When they find it, they cut her open. Like, when they open her eyes, they are like white.
Oh.
They like are whited out, and they're like, well, that usually happens, but like way later in decomposition, and her body has not reached that level of decomposition. And so then they cut her open, and her lungs are like black, as if they had been like there had been 3rd-degree burns happened. Her internal organs had been like scarred up, like some stuff had like been happened.
Some crazy shit that we don't know.
They keep like finding just like little clues that keep like, and as you're watching it, you're just sitting there like, okay, you're trying to figure it out, like what the hell's going on here. And then like they find Jimson weed, which is a paralyzing agent, which is known to
in her stomach.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's found in like New England.
So that's
so
cool.
Like is the way the way that the body is, like I was telling you before, the way that the body is like shows that the body just died. But the way like her eyes have clouded over
and the rest of her insides?
And the rest of it have been like she's been dead for a long time. So then other like more paranormal stuff starts happening. Like as they're taking out her organs, like one of the organs just keeps bleeding.
Ooh.
Like when they cut her open, she like is bleeding.
That's not normal.
Exactly. They're like, that's not normal. So then he like he takes one of the organs, he puts it in the fridge, and it like leaks out the fridge, and like
I'd be like, I think we have to leave.
we should go now.
I don't. If there's blood pouring out of the fridge, my turkey sandwich.
And then
oh shit!
No, not...
that was special.
The radio keeps changing songs.
Dad, stop changing the channel.
Well, it keeps turning to "Open Up Your Heart and Let the Sun Shine In," which is like a churchy, songy kind of thing. I don't know, it was weird. And then Austin keeps thinking that he sees people in like the morgue hallways and like in the mirrors and stuff.
Bro.
Like I would have been like, Dad, we have got to go.
If I worked in a morgue and I thought I saw like shit like that, I'd be like, we're going. We're coming back when this light out.
We are gone.
With a priest and sage.
But it's so freaky. Like I remember I was watching it and I had my comfy on. And I pulled the hood over my head and I was just like, oh God, something's gonna jump. Like it's gonna happen. So it's really good, like scene setting and like
creepy
acting. I really enjoyed it. So Austin is exploring and trying to find out like what's going on, and then you're gonna get bummed.
Oh no!
They have a cat. His name's Stanley.
Stanley.
And he finds him. He's been like mortally wounded, and he's like in the vent. But he's still alive.
No,
and then
he's suffering.
Austin takes him back to his dad, and Tommy takes him and breaks his neck to kill him.
Jesus Christ!
Well, to kill him, like because he was like gonna die. He was in pain.
Okay, all right. If you had to kill something real quick, would you jump to I'm gonna snap its neck?
It's a quick one.
I wouldn't jump to neck snapping. I wouldn't be like, yeah, I got this. Like, I guess they work with bodies. They're probably really good at snapping necks. I don't think they're practicing on dead bodies, but whatever.
It's like, okay, so we broke the neck like that.
We're going to cremate this one, so can I just practice really quick?
Well, then they did end up, they incinerate the corpse of the kitty cat. But it was sad. But at the same time, I knew it was going to happen because when they brought Jane Doe in, the cat came out and like hissed at it. And I was like, animals always know, man.
That cat's dead.
The animals always know.
Stanley, that's such a good name for a cat.
So as they continue the autopsy, despite
like
all of this, they continue.
Our cat died anyway.
The cat, and it's like the last. Like they also like mentioned that it was the last like thing that Tommy had of his late wife, who died.
Oh, okay. So they're heartless. They're like, no, it's fine. We'll dig in.
I was just like, woof. Okay.
Don't think about it.
So as they're like examining, they find like a piece of cloth in her stomach, and that's wrapped up, and then like her tooth is in it.
Ma'am.
And like when they open it up, it has like a bunch of Roman numerals and letters and like a weird diagram on it.
I'd be like, are we in an escape room right now? Is this a new fad?
What's going on? It kind of was like that. It seemed like everything was like that, kind of a little bit. They are looking at, like, when they're cutting her open, they're like, this is weird. And, like...
Everything else is like, normal at this point.
Like, right? So, like, they take her skin, because, they cut in the center, and then they peel it back. They're looking, and they're like, this looks weird. And they peel it back, like, where it's like, there'd be the skin, and there'd be the muscle. They pull it back. There's another layer of skin underneath her skin.
Is she an alien?
No, and then they rip her open, and there's, like... all kinds of symbols on like the inner part of her skin, and then there's like other skin on the outside.
I would be out the door.
Yeah, exactly.
Goodbye.
I would be like, we are done. We are done here. But then that's when shit really starts to go down, because then the lights suddenly explode. And when they finally manage to bring the lights on, the lights come up. I can't remember how it is, but they look up and all the other corpses are gone. Like all the doors with all the corpses are gone. Yeah.
You should have left a long time ago.
Then they're like, we gotta go. So then
now we have to leave.
So the elevator is broken.
No shit.
And then they tried. There's like it's located like in a cellar. It's like underground, and so they go up to a place where there's like a cellar door, but a tree has fallen on the cellar door because apparently there's a thunderstorm going on outside.
Okay.
So then they start freaking out. They manage to get...
They start freaking out?
They start freaking out. Well, the dad really starts freaking out. Austin's been freaking out for a while and has been like, Dad, we need to go.
Dad, the cat's dead.
And, like, Tommy's like,
Did
no!
you see that fucking tooth wrapped up in a towel?
Right. So they're in the, office. Like, there's, like, the dad has, like, an office. And there's a bathroom in the office, and the dad goes in the bathroom, and then, like, a figure, like, attacks him, and, like, they have, like, a scuffle. In the bathroom, yeah.
Bro, I'm trying to do my business.
Well, also, that's another thing. As, like, he was cutting into the woman, the Jane Doe, he cut himself on her rib, like, when they snapped her ribs to, like, look into her body. And it just keeps bleeding. Like, it just doesn't stop bleeding. Like, when he covers it up, it just keeps...
That's a sign of leukemia. I have seen that episode of Scrubs. It's really sad with Brendan Fraser, so...
Oh, good.
Oh!
Lovely.
Oh, no!
Bleh.
Did I bum you up pretty hard?
I know, I was like, oh.
Am I that, like, SNL character?
Debbie Downer.
Wah.
It's official. I can't have kids.
God damn it.
I love that episode with Lindsay Lohan where they just like can't stop laughing the whole time.
Yeah, I think that's me.
It's great.
Yeah, I feel that.
Anyway, so they go back to the autopsy room for some reason.
For an unknown reason,
Yep.
really?
And they're like they start examining the corpse again. And I'm just like, bruh, we should be focusing all efforts on getting the fuck out.
I think they're workaholics.
Exactly,
That's what
just
it sounds
a little
like.
bit. And so they managed to break out of the room because the room locks. They managed to break out of the doors with the emergency axe because they have like one of those like in case of emergency.
In case of corpse coming back to life.
Yep. And when they hack open the door, they look through and they see one of the missing corpses. And like the whole time, you also hear like another one with like the dingy bell walking around. It's just like knew that was
do
coming.
all these corpses have little like cat bells on their necks?
No, only one of them had a bell on it.
Why did it have a bell on it? We're not 100% sure on this one.
I told you already.
No, you didn't.
I told you way at the beginning. The coroner explains that when they were like a long time ago, they had dingy bells on them.
Yes, but why is a current corpse have a dingy bell?
Because the dad ties dingy bells on the corpses.
Why?
Because tradition.
That doesn't make any fucking sense.
That's what he says. He's like, think of it as like a tradition.
Think of it as a weird thing I do.
But then he only did it to one of them. Like, not all three. I was like...
It's a tradition. But just that one, because I'm not sure about that.
It was the one with, like, the face blown off. Like...
That could come back.
Exactly. It wasn't like, hoo.
That looks like a miracle.
Exactly. That didn't make any sense to me. I was like, why don't all three of them have dingy bells?
I found the hole in the story. That's it.
Earlier in the office, they also had tried to call the police to come and help them, but
and the phone lines
they
were
couldn't.
cut?
Yeah, the phone lines were having... Well, there was difficulty. They couldn't get in contact with them. Sorry. They managed to get to the furnace room. It just goes nuts. It goes like...
It goes nuts.
Well, because the witch kind of turns the furnace on to like maximum overdrive.
There's a witch now?
Oh, I spoiled it.
Oh no. Oh, also spoilers?
Well, no,
we didn't say that, but you should know by this point.
Well, anyway, like, so I'm getting to it anyway. I told you there was like weird symbols and everything everywhere.
So she was a witch.
Yeah. So like, well, I'll get to it. Sorry, I spoiled it.
That's okay.
So anyway, they're trying to get out, and so they also try to use the furnace to set the body on fire, but if they can't get to the furnace room,
Jane Doe,
they're trying to set Jane Doe on fire, but they can't get to the cremation room because it's been turned on and the door's been locked, so there's a fire spreading.
Cool.
So then they're also back in the autopsy room. They just light her on fire. They just try to light, and then like this whole all-consuming fire like goes up to the ceiling and like all around the whole building, and then it just comes off and she's totally fine.
Nice.
She's like, whatever, man.
I'm a witch, bitch.
So then they hear the elevator turn back and they're like, run!
Whoa!
So they get in the elevator and they are like trying to get it up and the doors won't shut all the way. And they hear one of the corpses coming at them. And the dad finally like takes the axe and like hits the corpse with the axe. And
are they
then,
like zombies or are they like...
It was like, yeah, like shuffling at them like a corpse, like a zombie. And like as the son's like trying to get the elevator to work, the dad takes an axe and like wings the corpse
head.
out there. And then they take a look at the corpse outside, and it was Austin's girlfriend Emma. The dad just killed Emma.
Emma, why are you shuffling at them like that?
Well, it wasn't. It was a hallucination.
So is this Bye Bye Man?
Kind of, the way that it worked there.
Yeah, no, I think Emma's just an idiot, so I'm gonna...
So Emma's really cool and dead.
And really dead.
She is, as the professionals call, really dead.
Big dead.
So they have like a heart-to-heart moment about mom and stuff in the elevator after he just killed his girlfriend.
Son, I know I just killed your girlfriend, but let's talk about your mom.
It's actually a really good
girlfriend shit down.
It's a really good scene, but I did kind of think, I was like, Dad, you just killed my girlfriend, and now you're gonna talk about this.
But I'm really sad about your mom, so don't be mad at me.
So like, don't be mad, but like.
But I axed her. She shuffled at me. What was I supposed to do?
What do you do in that situation?
Honestly, Brendan shuffles at me sometimes because I find it very scary. And I think it's wise he doesn't do it that when I have a weapon in my hands. Because when you see someone shuffle at you, like it from chapter 1, you get defensive. If I had an axe, I'd swing.
There you go. That's what happened.
Yeah.
He got defensive.
I'm sorry.
He swung.
Emma, what the fuck?
So Emma's dead. And boyfriend is devastated.
And boyfriend.
And they're also like, how the fuck are we going to explain this to the police?
We killed a woman.
So then, they managed to get back to the autopsy room once again. They're like, we got to examine this body.
Finish.
Well, because they also are coming to the conclusion that this is all her fault.
Yeah.
So they managed to do the final thing that because at the very beginning they were examining a different body, and they were kind of going through like the different steps. Like step 1, they're like outward looking at the body, like seeing if there's anything on the skin or abrasions or whatever. Then it's cutting open and checking out lungs, stomach, that kind of junk. And then the last one is cutting open the head and looking at brain junk. Brains.
She's got runes all over her brain.
Brains. Well, actually, what they find out is that her brain is still working. Her brain is still on.
Ma'am?
She is still technically active. She is still alive.
I mean, I'd be pretty pissed if people were cutting me open and shit.
I would say, so then they're like, oh shit, she's alive, and she's feeling all of this that we're doing to her. And then, when they look at the cloth, they see it refers to Leviticus 20:27, which condemns witches. And the year 1693, which is the year of the Salem witch trials. So they conclude that she is one of the women who were accused of witchcraft. And yeah.
What?
So what they did, or what do you mean?
Wait, what?
What do you mean?
How is she found in this house? Anyway, keep going. I'm sure you'll explain it.
So they say, like, they're like, okay, she's a witch. And then they're like...
Obviously.
So, like, she was one of the people who was accused of being a witch. And they, what they're saying is, like, in the process of, like, torturing her and all this stuff...
Making her eat her teeth.
Like, that kind of thing. They turned her into a witch. By, like, all the processes that they went through to, like... torture her and figure out what's going on. They turned her into a witch who now wants revenge. So then, like, to kind of, like, the dad looks in the corpse's eyes and is just kind of like, what do you want? Like, that kind of thing. Like,
what do you want?
What do you want from me? And then
more eye contact?
Well, he's just like, I'll give myself to you if you leave my son alone.
Okay, all right.
And then, it kind of makes, then what is happening makes sense and why she, like, is, so he offers himself to her. All of a sudden, his wrists and his ankles snap.
Oh, cute.
And hers heal.
Oh.
And so it's like it's ending her curse, like, so to bring her back to life. So it's like, but to do that, she's like sucking the life out of somebody else and causing the pain onto them. Well, then Tommy begs his son to kill him.
Please
Kill me. And then the son does. He kills him. And
Good
it's just
job.
like, wow, what a great day. His girlfriend dies, and then he's well, then like after that happens, and everything starts to go like once he kills his dad, everything kind of calms down and nothing really happens anymore.
Everything's chill.
And then Austin goes up to like that the door that I was telling you about before. The one, like the cellar door.
Oh.
He goes up to the cellar door because he hears the police officer up there.
Hey, we got some crazy shit down here.
And he's like, hey, I can't open the door. Like, he opened it, and he's like, no, try again. And then the son's like, I can't do it. And then eventually, like, the police officer's, like, talking to him, and then I can't remember how it gets strung in, but then all of a sudden he starts singing that song that's been playing the whole time, that Let the Sun Shine In.
Yeah.
Like, the police officer starts, like, his voice turns into that, and then he turns around, his father's corpse is, like, staring at him, like, threateningly. And it scares him so much that he falls over backwards because it's up a stairs, like the door.
So,
like,
yeah.
It's he falls over the banister and then snaps his neck and dies.
That's it?
Yeah. So he falls to his death after falling over the railing. And then a couple things happen. So like the next morning, the police are there, and it starts out like just like the beginning of the scene was, where they're looking around. They're like, "What the fuck happened?" And
they see a seductive titty.
Yep.
In the ground.
The best part is they are playing on the radio, and you know how I was telling you earlier how like there was a thunderstorm and it knocked over a tree, and that's why they couldn't get out. Well, on the radio, all of a sudden the DJ is like talking about it, and is like, we're on the 4th straight day of complete sunshine.
Whoa.
So it's just been it was the witch the whole time, like messing with them and fucking with them.
The witch.
So they're like, what is going on? And they're like, well, whatever. I guess they couldn't get to Jane Doe and couldn't figure out what happened to her. Because then they look at her, and she's completely sewn all up. Like, she's not like any autopsying had not happened. Also, her eyes aren't cloudy anymore. They're brown. So, like, she sucking the life out of the children of Salem.
But is she still dead?
She's still dead because he stopped when he killed his dad. He stopped it before she could finish sucking him.
Oh.
And so she wasn't able to come fully back to life. So she's still a corpse, and she's still a living corpse. And the police officer's like, take her to Virginia, the Commonwealth University. And they're like, so like he's in the well, then she's in the van, and that song, the Open Up Your Heart, Let the Sun Shine In, plays again. And as it's like, it kind of goes over her whole body, and then right at the very end, like, big toe twitches.
Wiggle your big toe.
That was, I said, like, I did that, like she did it, like she wiggled it. I was like, wiggle your big toe.
Yes.
So her curse was not completed, so she's gonna continue and kill all those bitches at the Virginia Commonwealth University.
Virginia. Shit.
But that is the end of the autopsy of Jane Doe. Really good. The story makes more sense when you watch it.
Yes.
But really good acting, and it's on Netflix. Definitely a recommend from me.
Watch it.
100% a recommend from me. I would watch it.
I would rather watch it. I think that sounds cool. Super not. I don't get. How was she buried? What happened in the house originally?
So like that's the other thing is like they. I wish I knew more about that one. Like they don't really go. Like you kind of get. At one point, one of the police officers who's surveying the house at the beginning is like, "Well, if you ask me, sir, it looks like they were trying to break out." Like it doesn't look like somebody broke in. It looks like the people were trying to break out.
So they build a house over her grave.
Mm-hmm.
And then
No, because that's the other thing is like they're in a completely different. They're in like the South, so it's like that is the other. Like, how did the body get there in the first place? Because they make a very big point of saying like her body looks like the like the Jimson weed and stuff like that, it's like that's a root that's found up north. So it's like her body would have like originally been somewhere up north. So it's just like that is the one thing they don't really explain is how her body ended up in this house in like Virginia.
Yeah.
Like, and half buried.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know if like these people that were in the house like stole the body or how the body ended up there and how it started. Like that is one thing that the movie doesn't really explain too well is how the body came there, especially if it's a body that was supposed to be in Salem, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Like how did it end up in Virginia? If I remember it, somewhere in the South. Like I remember they make a big point of being like that's not like that stuff is not native to around
Those
here.
vegetables.
Well, that what's it called?
Jimson weed?
Yeah.
Jimsum?
Jimson weed.
Jimson or Jimsum?
Jimson. Jimmy.
Jimson.
I think Jimson weed.
Jimson. Okay, cool. I win.
Yes.
All right. Well,
But it's good. 100% recommend. If you figure it out, like when you're watching it,
can you
please
tell us?
tweet me. It's like I don't understand how she got there in the first place.
What the fuck?
I wish that was explored a little more. But
A little morgues?
yeah.
Morgue. Funniest place. All right.
All right. So with that, we're gonna flip it over to Macklemore.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm super excited.
Actually, can we take a commercial break first?
Do you have to pee?
I do.
Okay. I have to pee again.
I have to pee again.
Okay, wait. Hello. Anyway, my segment.
Woo.
So
tell me about this boob.
well, okay. So you were like, I can't tell you a lot about it because I don't want to ruin it.
Because I didn't want to ruin the surprise that it's a witch like I ruined it when I did it.
You know. Like how it happened.
Because it like the whole movie leading up to the end was like what's going on? It was actually really cool because like I could like feel all three of us sitting in our chairs like focusing and trying to like figure out
Because Mom was there too.
Yeah, because Mom was there too.
I'm sorry,
And we were-
Mom.
And we were all
I just think it's funny.
and we were all trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Like none of us were talking. It wasn't one of those movies where we're talking throughout it.
So I didn't have a lot to go on, so I looked up wacky autopsies. And Google was like, you fucking bitch.
And Google was like, okay, this is a little less weird than what you usually do.
You have like a full... Oh, it's one of yours.
A full
Sorry.
hair.
You had like a full hair in your beard, and I'm like, either you're having a weird growth thing, or it's a full-fledged hair.
It wouldn't surprise me if I had like one long hair in my beard because I have like weird long hairs in my
Eyebrows.
And it's like every once in a while they'll curl down and get in my eye, and I'm like I have to like pluck them out, and I'm just like, you bitch.
Every woman, I don't give a shit this happens, they just have one dark hair on their chin.
One big one.
One big one. I'll like look in the mirror, I'm like, oh, this is okay. I don't have any zits today. Oh my god, what's that? And then you gotta pluck it.
You gotta pluck that hair out.
And it hurts. Anyway, we don't have to talk about my big long hair.
I get bored sometimes and I'll just be twisting my beard hair.
Twiddling.
And then it's just a little stubble. And then I'll get really bored while I'm like doing something and I'll just end up like plucking it out like tryptophania.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like ripping it out.
Jesus
And then
Christ.
I'm like, maybe I should stop that.
Maybe that's a mental disorder. Oh no. Okay.
I'm gonna end up like those old ladies who plucked their eyebrows too much and now they don't have eyebrows and they just take a little pencil and just go done. Oh my god, little rainbows on their eyes. And I'm just like, how do you think that looks normal?
I think
You
it looks
crazy.
I would say it looks better than no eyebrows.
It looks better than no eyebrows, but it's like they usually have like this just a pencil thin eyebrow and then unblended garage door eyeshadow.
Are they going to put in the effort to make
it's usually
a full
blue.
eyebrow? Yeah, well, blue is a good color. It brings out your eyes.
It brings out the whore.
It brings out the no eyebrows on your face.
Just rubbed off from friction.
Oh my god. Well,
Where
is
are
that...
you putting your head that your eyebrows would wear off from friction?
I rub it on bus seats.
Bus seat.
Well, I pictured like a homeless lady
Oh.
just shoving her face in it. I don't know. That's rude. I might cut that.
Bus seats.
I'm sorry.
I liked the bus seats. That was
Didn't like the homeless lady thing. Anyway.
So you looked up crazy autopsies.
So I looked up wacky autopsies.
Did you please use the word wacky?
I really wish I used wacky. I used crazy.
Okay.
Craziest autopsies. And Ranker was there, like, here's...
Ranker's like, I got you,
let's
babe.
Let's do it. And so I looked up... First, Ranker, I love it. It has a bunch of gross shit in a list form. I love that.
Whenever you say Ranker, I think of the Rancor from Star Wars.
Rancor!
From Star Wars.
Yeah. It's just that. It's that guy.
It's that guy. He's
it's
like
that alien.
He's like sitting there like, okay.
10 wackiest.
10 wackiest. And he rips a pig man in half.
Mm-hmm. What are the pigmen called?
Snorkers.
Snorkers?
I can't remember what they're called.
I don't know. Brendan probably knows it.
Like,
Grammorian guards?
That's it. Grammorian guard. I don't know where you pulled that out, but that's it. They're Grammorian guards.
Shit! Okay, wait. Aren't there also pig guards in Ocarina of Time?
Yes, those are moblins.
Those are moblins? Okay. I just remember when you played Ocarina of Time and you were in that maze and they'd run at you.
Oh my god,
they scared the shit out of me.
For the forest temple. Oh my god. Yeah, no, you're right. The Gamorrean guards. You pulled that out of nowhere.
I am the coolest nerd.
That was shocking. You said it, and I'm like, yes, that's
correct.
That's what it was. Like,
anyway, so Ranker was like, here's some Reddit people who just talked about gross autopsies, which was fun. I read a lot of them.
A ferret just busts out of one of them.
I just thought of that thing in South Park where the hamster is crawling in Mr. Slave's butthole.
Oh! The hamster? You mean Paris Hilton?
No, it's the... Oh, she's also in there, but there's also a hamster. But anyway, so the one that I want to talk about really quick, just because it's fun. Fun in a gross way for me. So there was a guy... or woman, it didn't say, but the
there was a person,
the mortician that
there was a folk.
There was a folk that found the body, and they were called to the scene of the incident. But the person committed suicide by like taking pills and drinking a bunch of booze, and then they went into their hot tub,
and we're like cool.
To relax, it sounds really bad. It's very bad. So they did it that way, which isn't great, but. They sat in the hot tub, I'm sure to, calm themselves down. But when they found the body was in their apartment. Like, their hot tub was in their apartment. And no one knew the person died until it started to stink. So...
was cooking them.
The Reddit user was like, it's basically like they killed themselves and then they just put themselves in a crock pot for a couple days. And I was like, holy shit.
Christ.
So that was gross. Anyway, there were a bunch of other gross ones, but some of them were babies. So I'm not going to tell you about them. I will tell you about one baby,
Okay,
though.
Tell me about the babies.
Okay. Well, first of all, I just Googled autopsy and was like, YouTube, show me an autopsy. and YouTube was like, you fucking asked for it. And they don't, pussyfoot around. It starts with, we're cutting her open.
That's kind of how they also were videotaping it in the autopsy of Jane Doe, and they're like, "Hi, yeah, so we're gonna cut open her bajinga." So
bajinga. It was pretty fucking bonkers. Cause they had a woman, and she was on the table, and at first I was like, "Huh?" They covered her face with a towel. I don't know if that was for us, the viewer. A lot of the comments were people being like,
"Let her speak."
People were just uncomfortable. And other people were like, I'm a forensic student and I have to watch this video for my class. But I don't know if they cover the face for the doctors who are doing it to dehumanize it and make it not as horrible, or if because they're showing it in a video.
I think it's the video, because it's
they cover it.
They still have an identity.
Yeah.
That's still a person.
But it'd be very hard as a, doctor to do that.
I think by the time that you're experienced enough, and it doesn't matter anymore.
They were just slicing and Dyson, man.
They didn't care.
It was bonkers. Because when you watch...
They were just like, even in the movie, they were like, it's just a dead body.
Yeah. When you watch SVU, they make these clean cuts. Because they do the Y cut. This guy was like, just gashing in there with the fucking scalpel, like, many times. He was not being careful. It was a woman autopsyist. But the guy who was... Autopsier. Anyway,
Coroner,
whatever. I'm very knowledgeable. And they were just, like, gouging into just shit and pulling shit open. They took out all the organs. So, okay, I made notes on how autopsies work, because I thought it would be good for the audience. So, there are two types of autopsies. There's clinical autopsies and there's forensic autopsies. Clinical's like research students, people looking into maybe like diseases and seeing how the body reacts and stuff. And then like medical training, obviously they need to work with a dead body. And then there's forensic autopsies, and they're like
CSI.
It's like CSI. Law and Order, SVU.
Yeah.
But,
SVU dab.
Dab. I don't know why I dabbed.
You did. You fully did. SVU dab.
Dab. Anyway.
Do the kids still dab?
Do the kids still dab? Am I still cool?
Is it still the floss? Is that a thing?
Oh my god, I don't know. I'm sorry. I've never... I learned the Soulja Boy dance.
I did too, and it was the whitest thing I'd ever done.
That is the last dance I ever learned.
Cupid Shuffle.
And the Cupid Shuffle.
And the electric slide. But that's because they tell me what to do.
They tell me what to do, so it's fine. But anyway, if you want me to Soulja Boy.
I don't remember a lot of it, but I remember at one time at Giant Step Theater, we all were doing it.
And the adults were like, oh my god. Why are we here?
We're all so white.
We're so white.
And we were doing High School Musical too.
High School Musical. Okay.
That's from High School Musical 3.
I know. I've actually never seen that one.
I saw it at the midnight premiere.
Woo! So then under...
I don't remember anything.
Okay. No, I'm sorry. Now
Gonna stop.
I just thought of a story my friend told me. He went to like a midnight premiere of something with his friends, and there was a guy sitting
I swear
like...
to God, if this is me, if you're like saying a friend of mine, it was me.
No, I know which friend it was. And there was a guy sitting in front of them, and he had like a kind of a big jacket on, and my friend just saw him reach into his jacket and pull out like an actual for real like regular sized bottle of gin, I want to say, or it was vodka, and he just took sips out of it. And my friend decided in the beginning, when he noticed that this is much more interesting than whatever movie I'm seeing, that guy drank the whole bottle and then walked out in the middle of the movie. He didn't even finish it the whole movie length. He drank it in like an hour and left.
Oh my God.
And my friend was like, holy shit. Anyway, what's going on in the movie?
Yeah.
So I just remember that story. Anyway.
And then just leaving.
Just leave. That guy just wanted a dark room to drink with other people. Maybe go to a bar.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's cheaper.
I don't know.
Anyway. So under forensic autopsies, there are also 5 types. There's natural, there's accidental, homicide, suicide, and undetermined. Undetermined is just, I don't fucking know.
It's like, whatever.
One of the things I thought was weird was coroners are elected to their positions. Mm-hmm. So they technically don't need medical training. So...
They just need to be able to hold a scalpel?
I don't even know what that means. Like, if you want to be a coroner, I guess you can just, like, run for it. I don't know. The video I watched, oh shit, I wrote it down. I forgot to tell people who oh no. I'll look at it later. I'll put them in the notes. Anyway, so, the coroners are an elected position. Usually they're medical people. And then there's a medical examiner. They're an experienced medical person who has a job that they're hired for. And they usually go through. So if there is a coroner who doesn't have medical experience, they usually hire a medical examiner to help them with that autopsy. So I guess if there's like a small town,
maybe,
and the coroner's just some dude, like literally you
some
can be
broham.
anything. Yeah, I don't know. So they make the Y-shaped incision, and they pull back the skin, the muscle, and then the tissue to see your insides. They take out all of your organs, and then they examine them, and then they weigh them. So they peel back the woman's skin, and they have to break her rib cage. It's just the top half of it, and they just like fucking go in there. They're just cutting away, and they pull it back. And they also have to do your face. So then they make a cut. They cut your forehead basically in like a hat line, and they pull the skin off, and then they crack open the skull, and then there's the dura, which is like the thin membrane between the brain and the whatever skull.
Brain. Yeah, or the brain and the skull.
And they want to keep that intact, so they have to use like a chisel and then like peel it. I was watching one autopsy where the guy's like, "This one's really stuck on." I really appreciate the autopsy people being like, "Gee willikers." Like, they were cutting open, in one of the autopsies I watched, they cut open a woman, and they were pulling back her skin, and they, like, her boobs were out, which made me feel weird, and they, like, a doctor, like, accidentally fumbled with her boobs, and then went back to it, like, wait a minute. And then they just were like, wait, what is this? Oh my God.
A breast implant.
A breast implant. We didn't know this was here.
Oh my God.
And they like show it to the camera, like, check it out.
We didn't even know.
So that was really weird.
Exposing this woman's breast implants for the world to see.
Like, it was just weird to hear them, like, medically speaking about something, and then the guy who's doing the video starts laughing when they pull it out, and I'm like, this is weird.
That's my auntie.
Anyway, so the two I wanted to talk about were two different autopsies that they found the cause of death based on the autopsy, because that's kind of what it sounded like yours was about.
Yeah.
So there's one by an A&E magazine article called American Eagle, yes. The autopsy place.
Yep.
A retired medical examiner on one of his most unusual autopsies by Susie Spencer.
Can we just talk about really quick how great my nails look?
They're pretty good. They're good. They're black. I like them.
They're black.
Painted that way.
It's Halloween.
Yes.
Sorry, I was just looking at them. I'm like, wow, I did really good.
Why are magazine and articles names like 2 sentences long?
They are long sometimes.
They should not be that long. It's too much. But anyway, so the coroner's name is Dr. Thomas Andrew. He works out of New Hampshire, and he just kind of went back on one of his weirdest autopsies. Mm-hmm. And basically, they got a 911 call for an unresponsive child, and then they brought the body to the coroner, and it was completely fine, which is pretty much how you described it in yours.
Yeah.
It was healthy. There didn't seem to be any visible cause of death on the body. There were no, like, ligatures or contusions or lacerations. I am very...
Bruises, cuts.
Yeah. There were no fluid stains on the body or its clothes. And it was very well preserved. So the doctor was like, that's fucking weird. So he couldn't find any cause of death. And then they did x-rays. So there was no signs of, like, one of the red flags they look at, especially for dead children, is broken bones or fractures that have healed. So they look at the bones to see if they've had multiple breaks and then healed, from abuse. So they didn't have that for this kid. And he's like, what the hell? So oh gosh, I have a quote from the doc. So the quote from the doctor is, you can cause horrific injuries internally to infants and children without leaving much in ways of marks on their skin, because their skin is so pliable and so elastic. So that's a problem with doing autopsies on children, is they're pliable and shit. And the rest of the quote is, and so are their ribs. The ribs are very pliable and they do not fracture or may not fracture. They definitely could fracture. I'm not saying they don't ever fracture. Anyway, so in the article, I'm just reading this, And then they have another quote from the doctor, which I feel like was ill-placed. Because they're talking about the autopsy, and the quote is, "You've got to put the heart stuff aside. It's not to say it's not important, but you have to deal with it later." And I'm like, they have to put the heart aside?
They, like, cut it out and just leave it?
And they're just like, you leave that for the last thing.
Oh my god, you thought they meant, like, the physical organ.
Okay, if you're talking about an autopsy, and I
can
read
totally
the word heart.
I can see where you're coming from.
And then they went on to say, but at the time of the autopsy, it's all brains. You got a laser beam focused on what you're doing. And I'm like, so you got to focus on the brain and put the heart over in the corner. I thought it was a weird quote that they did. So they examined the organs. The heart and lungs were normal. There's no abdominal catastrophe, and the liver's intact. So they have no cause of death. And then they have to pull open. So if they're looking for like cause of death and they can't find it, they do the regular cut over the thing to get the brain out. But then they also do this thing where they pull off the face. I think what the doctor said in the article was they cut it from like the chin area, and then they pull it up so you can like see the tissue under the face. So for children, there's a rule where injuries where the brim of a hat sits on the head are more likely to be an accident, because kids fall over, toddlers are, running into shit. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of something that they keep in mind. And then anything above where the hat sits, that would be something to be suspicious about. So the boy did have a visible pattern contusion on skin. On the tissue. That's not you can't see it on his skin, but underneath you can see it. And then the doctor was like, I think there was foul play. So he started taking tissue samples. They take tissue samples of all the organs, and they do the testing on all the organs. That takes like days, maybe weeks. It depends. So in your story, when the detective was like, "We need this
today,"
that's not how that works.
I need pictures of Spider-Man.
So that's not how that works, because they need to send it out for testing. So they were looking. And then the boy had cells filled with iron pigment in his lungs, even though the lungs look normal at first. And there are possible reasons for that. There could be congestive heart failure or other diseases. But all of the boy's other organs were totally fine. So there was no real reason for it. Basically, the doctor found out that iron filling the cells in the breathing sacs is a sign of repetitive asphyxia from compression. So he told the detective about it, and basically they interrogated the person who was caretaking the kid, and what they found out was whenever the child cried or was upset, the person would push on the kid's chest until they stopped crying. I mean, that person was taken away. They were indicted for homicide, but like that was how they wouldn't have found that out if they didn't figure out the thing in the lungs, because the rest of the body was completely fine. So if this was like before any kind of forensic testing, they wouldn't have known.
No,
they
wouldn't have known. They would just looked at it and been like, well, you're dead.
Yeah, the article I read too didn't give any names for anybody, so I don't know. They just refer to the person as the caretaker, so I don't know if that was like a parent or
grandparent, a nanny.
A nanny? Oh my god, can you imagine if a nanny's doing that and they like don't figure it out and she just goes and nannies other people? Or he? Sorry. It's a unisex job. A manny? So yeah, I just thought that one was really interesting and went along with your thing. I have another one about an old lady dying, but I don't know if are we bummed?
No.
Okay. So this one is from a Forensic Magazine article. It's a case study on a woman found. She has a barn. She's around 80 years old. They find her body. She has no clothes on her upper half. Her bra and her shirt are found kind of like far away from her. And then her pants are pulled down to her knees. And so they're doing this. They find she's actually bruised all over. There's like actually a horseshoe-shaped bruise in her body. And they're like, obviously she was killed. We just need to figure out like why or how. Also, if anyone's ever found with like their bra not on or their skirt or pants kind of by their knees, that's a very clear sign of sexual assault. But they're like, this was her farm in kind of the middle of nowhere. Her family was around. We don't really get it.
Horse kicked her so hard it knocked her clothes clean off.
But like, basically, because they're looking at like a murder investigation. And then they have the coroner kind of look over the body. And the coroner's like, okay, so there's this thing. She has a broken hip, which could be explained.
Common in old women.
Yeah. Just a regular old broken hip.
Yep.
So what they think happened, I mean, they kind of in the case study, they were pretty much like, this is what happened. I mean, anything could be possible. But anyway, what they think happened was she went to go feed her horses in the morning. On her way to do it, she turned on a hose to like spray plants or whatever. And on her way to the horses in the barn, she broke her hip and fell to the ground and couldn't get up and couldn't get help. And even though it was like a warm summer time, people can get hypothermia in like 60 to 7 degree weather. So, and there's this weird phenomena where if you have hypothermia, if it sets in, you start to take off your clothes because you kind of feel hot. Mm-hmm. So you get so cold that you're hot. So what they think happened was she's lying on the ground, the hose is making everything wet, and it's not very cold outside, but it's cold enough where she starts getting hypothermia. So she takes off her clothes. The horses now haven't been fed, so they're trying to get her attention. They think the horses cause all of her other injuries, and then she basically just dies of exposure or hypothermia in the barn, which I thought was bonkers. Because if you just hear woman in barn with clothes off and contusions,
you're like sexual assault.
I'd be like, sexual assault, boom. So I just thought those were interesting. Those are my tales.
That is interesting.
Yeah, I like that one. Sorry, there was a dead baby and a dead grandma. But, yeah. I was interested. Autopsies are not for the squeamish.
No.
Do not watch them if you are not ready for it. I saw a lot of stuff.
Saw a lot of things, a lot of stuff, man.
It wrecked me a little bit, but here I am.
I can't eat pastrami anymore.
Oh, I love pastrami. Ugh. Oh, also, so I went on this YouTube channel because they had the autopsy, and I clicked on the channel itself. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with those people. Because you know when you click on a YouTube thing and you go on their site, they have their like featured video.
Hentai.
No, hentai. Their featured video was this guy. I don't even know what the fuck. It said he had a severed tongue. I don't know what that means.
It means a tongue cut.
It opened up like a fucking flower, and he's like shaking it around, and I was like,
like, why?
I just saw you cut open a woman, and that was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I was very upset.
That's like a body mod some people get.
I don't
their tongue like a damn like snake.
But it was like, I'll show it to you after this. No, you don't want to see it. Are you sure?
No, I'm good.
It was very upsetting.
I am good.
It scared me more than the autopsy did.
LOL.
Do you have a sibling story?
I don't off the top of my head.
I'm going to tell a story because I like it.
Okay,
I will ask Dad if he's okay with it later. So we were in Hawaii, and there was this walking path. What was the walking path called? The whale walk?
Something like that.
Something like that. But there was like a golf course right next to it. Like, unsafe distance away. Like, it was open. There was no fences. You know, usually with like golf courses,
There's like a netting or something.
Netting. None of that. It was just fucking open, and these golfers were bad. And we're all walking along the path. There's some golfers kind of close by golfing, and all of a sudden, I just hear Dad say, "Get out of the way!"
Yeah, he just freaks out. He's like, "It's coming!"
I have never been so afraid in my life.
We ran so fast.
I think I felt like I was in Vietnam.
I hid behind a tree.
But I've never seen Dad so afraid.
He was like, "I'm not getting brained by that golf ball."
He screamed gutturally and told us to get down, and he like squatted and like
shimmied
shuffled
like a crab, like.
I can't even imagine what I did because I was afraid for my life. I thought like they were raining gunfire down on us.
I vaguely recall pushing one of you out of the way to get behind the tree.
You pushed Brendan. And then the golf ball like comically lands a couple feet away. And Dad's like, "Oh, it wasn't a big deal." I've never seen him so afraid.
He was like, "Everyone get down!"
Get down!
We were just like, all of us were just like, "Shit!"
Oh my God. Brendan was kind of like, "What's going on?" As I was like, "Goodbye."
I clothesline him.
It was so scary. I just really appreciate that. I don't know if you've ever seen your dad tell you to run for your life, but it's affecting. It's very scary.
It affects you. It does something to you.
Scares you. Do the thing.
Oh, okay.
Tell them about
Thank you so much for listening. We had a great time today talking about autopsies.
They'll say
autopsy.
Sorry.
If you would like to follow us, we are on all major social media. It's going to be Living Vicariously for everything except for Twitter. Twitter will be Live Vicarious. Otherwise, we are on Tumblr, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. If you would like to send us your scary stories, your movie recommendations, your sibling stories so that we can feature your sibling story on our podcast, feel free to email us at livingvicariously@gmail.com.
Yay.
Other than that, have a spoopy October. Actually, by the time this one probably comes out, it's going to be not October anymore.
Yeah, I don't think so. So have a great November.
Have a great Halloween. Have a great Halloweeny.
Woo!
Hootie hoo.
Hootie hoo. But anyway, to take us out.
Ooh.